Hello, my dear students. A very warm welcome to all of you in Shri Jayendra Rank Zone. I am your friend and mentor for the subject Business Economics. In this lecture, we'll continue with Economics Chapter 5, that is Business Cycles. We'll see the summary of the chapter and we continue with multiple choice questions. So, let us begin. This is lecture number 5. The rhythmic fluctuations in aggregate economic activity that an economy experiences over a period of time is known as business cycles or trade cycles are and are manifested in fluctuations in measures of aggregate economic activity such as gross national product, employment and incomes. A typical business cycle has four distinct phases. First phase is expansion phase, also called boom or upswing, characterized by increase in national output and all other economic variables. Second, peak of boom or prosperity refers to the top or the highest point of the business cycle. Third is contraction, also called downswing or recession, when there is a fall in the levels of investment and employment. The fourth phase is depression. So depression occurs when the process of recession is complete and there is severe contraction in the economic activities. Economists use changes in a variety of activities to measure the business cycle and to predict where the economy is headed towards. These are called indicators. A leading indicator is a measurable economic factor that changes before the economy starts to follow a particular pattern or trend, that is, they changes before the real output changes. Let's see about the lagging indicator. So variables that change after real output changes is called lagging indicators. The third indicators is coincident indicators or concurrent indicators. So coincident economic indicators, also called concurrent indicators, coincide or occur simultaneously with the business cycle movements. According to Keynes, fluctuations in economic activities are due to fluctuations in aggregate effective demand. According to some economists, fluctuation in investment are the prime cause of business cycles. Investment spending is considered to be the most volatile component of aggregate demand. Fluctuations in government spending with its impact on aggregate economic activity result in business fluctuations. Macroeconomic policies, monetary and fiscal policies also cause business cycles. According to Hawtrey, trade cycles is a purely monetary phenomena. Unplanned changes in the supply of money may cause business fluctuations in an economy. According to Pigou, modern business activities are based on anticipation of business community and are affected by waves of optimism or pessimism. According to Scumter, trade cycles occur as a result of innovations which take place in the system from time to time. Understanding what phase of the business cycle in an economy is in and what implication the current economic conditions have for their current or future business activity helps business to better anticipate the market and to respond the greater alertness. First question. The term business cycle refers to A. the ups and downs in production of commodities. B. The fluctuation levels of economic activity over a period of time. C. Deadline in economic activities over prolonged period of time. Or D. Increasing unemployment rate and diminishing rate of savings. So it is B. The fluctuating levels of economic activity over a period of time. 1B. Second, a significant decline in general economic activity extending over the period of time is A. Business cycles, B. Contraction phase, C. Recession, or D. Recovery. A significant decline in general economic activity extending over the period of time is C. Recession. C. Recession. Question 3. Question 3. The through or depression of a business cycle occurs when dash hits its lowest point. Dash hits its lowest point. Dash hits its lowest point. A. Inflation in the economy. B. The money supply. C. The aggregate economic activity. Or D. The unemployment rate. Question 3. Occurs when dash hits the lowest limits. The aggregate economic activity in the country hits its lowest point. Question 4. Question 4. The lowest point in the business cycle is referred to as the A. Expansion, B. Boom, C. Peak, or D. Through or depression. The lowest point is D. Depression. D. Through or depression. Question 5. Question number 5. A leading indicator is, so there are three types of indicators: a leading indicator, a lagging indicator, a coincident indicator, or concurrent indicator. This question relates to a leading indicator. So a leading indicator is a variable that tends to move along with the level of economic activity. B. A variable that tends to move in advance of aggregate economic activity. C. A variable that tends to move consequent on the level of aggregate economic activity. Or D. None of the above. Or D. None of the above. So over here the answer is B. B. A variable that tends to move in advance of aggregate economic activity, and that is the leading indicator. Leading means that move in advance, that leads. Move in advance, that means that leads. I hope you are clear. I hope you are clear till here. Let us move ahead. Let us move ahead. Question number 6. The next is question number 6. A variable that tends to move later than aggregate economic activity is called later. later than aggregate economic activity. Over here, move in advance is not there. Later than aggregate economic activity is called what? A. Leading variable. B. Coincident variable or concurrent variable. C. A lagging variable. Or D. Cyclical variable. Or D. Cyclical variable. So it is C. A lagging variable. Question 6. C. A lagging variable. Question number 7. Question 7. Industries that extremely sensitive to the business cycle are the A. Durable goods and service sectors. Durable goods and service sectors. B. Non-durable goods and service sectors. C. Capital goods and non-durable goods sectors. Or it is D. Capital goods and durable goods sectors. Capital goods and durable goods sectors. Question 7. So it is D. Capital goods and durable goods sector. Industries that are extremely sensitive to the business cycle is capital goods and durable goods sectors. Question 8. Question 8. A decrease in government spending would cause A. The aggregate demand curve shift to the right. B. The aggregate demand curve shift to the left. C. A movement down and to the right along the aggregate demand curve. Or D. A movement up and the left along with the aggregate demand curve. So over here, there is a decrease in the government spending. So the aggregate demand will shift to the left side. I believe it is clear. Question 9. Which of the following does not occur during an expansion? Which of the following does not occur during an expansion? A. Consumer purchases of all types of goods tend to increase. B. Employment increases as demand for labor rises. C. Business profits and business confidence tend to increase. Or D. None of the above. Or D. None of the above. So does not occur during an expansion. D. None of the above. Nothing happens in case of expansion. Question 10. Question 10. Which of the following best describes a typical business cycle? Which of the following best described as typical business cycle? A. Economic expansion are followed by economic contractions. B. Inflation is followed by rising income and unemployment. C. Economic expansions are followed by economic growth and development. Or D. Stagflation is followed by inflationary economic growth. Stagflation is followed by inflationary economic growth. Which of the following best describes a typical business cycle? A. Economic expansion are followed by economic contractions. First it is expansion, then contraction. Expansion, contraction. I believe you understood. And this line is known as trend. This line is known as trend. I believe it is clear to all of you. Let us start question number 11. Let us see question number 11. During recession, the unemployment rate dash and output dash. During recession, the unemployment rate dash and output dash. So unemployment rate A rises, output falls, or unemployment rises and output also rises, unemployment falls and output rises, or D, unemployment rate falls and output also falls. During recession, so during recession, the unemployment rate rises and output falls. That means A, 11A. Question 12. The four phases of business cycles are, now this is simple. The four phases of business cycles are peak, recession, through, and boom. B, peak, depression, through, and boom. C, peak, recession, through, and recovery. Or D, peak, depression, burst, and boom. So it is C, peak, recession, through, and recovery. Question 13. Leading economic indicators A are used to forecast probable shift in economic policies. B. Leading economic indicators are generally used to forecast economic fluctuations. C. Leading economic indicators are indicators of stock prices existing in an economy. Or D. Leading economic indicators are indicators of probable recession and depression. It would be B, are generally used to forecast economic fluctuations. Economic fluctuations. 14. Question 14. When aggregate economic activity is declining, the money is said to be in, the economy is said to be in A, contraction, B, expansion, C, equilibrium points, C, a through, or D, a turning point. Aggregate economic activity is declining, so it is contraction. A. 14A, contraction. Question 15. Peaks and through of a business cycle is, peak and through of a business cycle are known collectively as A, volatility, B, turning points, C, equilibrium points, or D, real business cycle events. Peaks and through of a business cycle are known collectively as B, turning points. Peak is on the top and depression is at the, through is the lowest point. So turning points. Understood? This point and this point. This point is known as peak and this is through or depression. Okay? 16th. The most probable outcome of an increase in the money supply is A, interest rate to rise, investment spending to rise and aggregate demand to rise. B. Interest rate to rise, investment spending to fall, and aggregate demand to fall. C. Interest rate to fall, investment spending to rise, and aggregate demand to rise. D. Interest rate to fall, investment spending to fall, and aggregate demand to fall. The most probable outcome of an increase in the money supply is C. Interest rate to fall, investment spending to rise because of increase in money supply, and aggregate demand to rise. So 16C. Interest rate to fall, investment spending to rise, and aggregate demand to rise. Question 17. Which of the following is not a characteristics of business cycle? Is not a characteristics of business cycle? A. Business cycles have serious consequences on the well-being of the society. B. Business cycles occurs periodically, although they do not exhibit the same regularity. C. Business cycles have uniform characteristics and causes. Or D. Business cycles are contagious and unpredictable. Which of the following is not a characteristics of business cycle? C. Business cycles have uniform characteristics. Ideally, business cycles do not have uniform characteristics. Business cycles do not have uniform characteristics. Uniform characteristics. Example, uniform length. Uniform length. Question 18. Economic recession shares all of these characteristics except A. Fall in the levels of investment, employment, or B. Incomes of wages and interest earners gradually declining result in decreased demand for goods and services. C. Investor confidence is adversely affected and new investments may not be forthcoming. D. Increase in the price of inputs due to increased demand for inputs. It is D. Economic recession shares all the characteristics except increase in the price of inputs due to increased demand for inputs, because in case of recession there is decrease in the demand for inputs, and over here it is written increase in the demand for inputs. I believe you understood. Let us see question 29. The different phases of business cycle A do not have the same length and severity. B. Expansion phase always lasts more than 10 years. C. Last many years and are difficult to get over in the short periods. Or D. None of the above. The different phases of business cycle A do not have the same length and severity. Some business cycles may be long, Some business cycles may be long, some may be short. Some may be short. It's unpredictable. It's unpredictable. Question 20. Question 20. Which of the following is not an example of coincident indicators? Which of the following is not an example of coincident indicator or concurrent indicators or concurrent indicators? A. Industrial production. B. Inflation. C. Retail sales. Or D. New orders for plants and equipments. Not an example of coincident indicators. D. New orders for plants and equipments. New orders for plants and equipments. Question 21. According to Dash, trade cycles occurs due to onset of innovations. According to Dash, trade cycles occur due to onset of innovations. A. Hawtrey. B. Adam Smith. No, Adam Smith is not there. C. J.M. Keynes. And D. Sumter. So according to Sumter, trade cycles occur due to onset of innovations. We had read this in text also. We have followed this in text. So we have done MCQ till here. In today's class, we have seen the summary first, and then we have shifted to the multiple choice questions, and we have completed all the questions over here. Now, in the forthcoming classes, we'll be doing the practice of some more multiple choice questions. Those questions will be different from these questions. We'll be doing some practice of multiple choice questions in the forthcoming lectures. I believe you understood till here. So we are stopping here. Thank you.